Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crabby Morning Podcast. I'm today's host, Kayla, along with my wonderful co-hosts,
Liam,
Dylan.
And I'm John.
And today we have a very special guest star,
Edyn.
Nice to meet you, Edyn.
Nice to meet
Wait,
you.
you guys you already know each other.
Hey, I gotta be formal, all right?
All right.
So, let me introduce the topic for today. We're gonna be doing an interview with Edyn on dance and choreography. So, Edyn, how did you get started with dancing?
So it's very convoluted, actually. My parents are Jews, and they became Christians in their college years and ended up moving to Israel to be missionaries.
Oh.
Anyway, after leaving that country, we landed in Cyprus, which is an island nearby. My mom was at a grocery store and met a woman there and started talking to her about her faith, and in the process learned about what the women did for a living, which was own a dance studio.
Okay.
And so in efforts to just build a relationship, my mom, well, also because I think she wanted her kids to be able to get involved in an art form, because my parents were artists too, she enrolled my sisters and I in a dance school called Vanya Vrandy's Classical Russian Ballet School. And so that was the beginning of my dance journey on the island of Cyprus about 18 years ago. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So that's pretty crazy. I was not expecting all of that. Wow. So why don't you list off some of the types of dances that you've learned since you've been practicing for 18, you said 18 years?
18 years.
Yeah. So what are some of the dances or dance styles that you learned so far?
So yeah, ballet was like my first dance genre or language, if you will.
Okay.
And that was always like the foundation, almost like many of you may have learned English as a first language. Ballet was my English, even though English wasn't my first language growing up abroad. But and it's also always been a bit of a constant backbone, skeletal constant in my life. And so building on top of ballet, I was given opportunities to take character dance, which is more expressive, I think. You wear these long black skirts and these heels, and you're very dramatic in your facial expressions, and that was a bit of also kind of a foundational base dance form. And then we actually ended up hiring a hip-hop teacher who a lot of the kids on the island ended up taking classes with. Gerald. He was a really cool guy. He had one eye, and nobody ever knew where, like, what happened. We were scared to ask. One little girl asked, but he never really revealed what had happened.
Was he a pirate or something?
We don't know.
Okay.
But he was
That's
awesome.
my backstory for him. He's a pirate.
You could say he was a pirate. You have sharks on your shirt, so that's fitting.
Yes.
And so I think those were my main dance forms in Cyprus. I also got to learn modern dance, which was new for a ballerina. You're barefoot, there's a lot less rigidity, and it's a lot more fluid and free. And then when I moved to the United States, I re-enrolled in ballet classes at the American Ballet Theater, which was recommended to me by my dance teacher in Cyprus. And so that was like, my sisters and I would travel to New York City 2 or 3 times a week just to take ballet. And then, did you want to?
Oh, I was going to ask, so out of all the dance styles you've learned, which one would you say that you like the most?
I don't know if I've even gotten to it yet. I think in the first stage of life, of the few that I've shared, I want to say ballet.
Okay.
I think I like the predictability of it, and I like the fact that there is a bit of a language and there's a word, phonetic, there's a word to describe the dance language that's not reaching my mind, but I feel the most comfortable in ballet. As I was able to age and go to an arts high school and then major in dance in college, I was exposed to many other forms, which a few that became my favorites were dances of other cultures, like Hawaiian dance, like African dance. I had the time of my life learning African. A lot of the Asian dances, Filipino and Chinese dance, were really, really fun, especially when they brought food into the picture.
Ooh,
and I just saw the whole
I can dance
culture.
if they bring free food.
Yes. Food and dance and music is just the best combination. And then when I became a Christian, I was able to like repurpose my dance as a form of worship to God almost. And so one of my favorite times doing that was also for a church service, International Sunday, where we weave in culture. Everybody shares their culture, their flag, their food,
I like that.
and we get to dance with like celebrating everybody's
That sounds
ethnicities.
nice.
And
Wow.
that's such a celebration.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna go off of what Liam said and ask you what the hardest dance you've had to do was.
Oh, I'm gonna say Indian dance. It's
Okay.
so intricate. Every finger motion means something different, and it's so precise, and it takes like I feel like part of my body to be fully invested and engaged, and like nothing can be chilling out or at
Yeah.
rest. And
Mm.
I mean, many dance forms are like that, but I felt particularly challenged with specifically Bharatanatyam dance.
Wow.
All right. So when you're learning songs, or when you're learning dances, do you learn them to a specific? I guess a specific. Well, yeah, you would learn it to a specific song. How long does it take for you to, I guess, learn a choreography for a song fully?
That's a great question. I always considered myself a slow learner when it came to picking up choreography. It depends on the teacher's teaching style. I had a teacher in high school who would do the phrase really quick, and then we would have to copy it and go over it again and again and again. And it depended on the kind of learning style for the dance. Sometimes we would have to watch a YouTube video and mirror the movements and reverse the arms and the legs in order to be in line with them. I think the most efficient and effective way for me to learn was when the teacher was doing it with me and slow. And it ranges on the song length, but maybe for a 3-minute song with really intensive rehearsals, I could get the movements down in maybe 5 hours, just solidifying everything. But with the school system and sometimes not always being able to meet when it was group choreographies, it would sometimes take a matter of weeks to be able to fully learn a piece. Yeah.
Oh dang! I'm learning so much about this. I didn't know that all that went into dancing and stuff, choreography. It's a lot.
I wanted to also ask you, have you ever like taught choreography, or did you have to kind of do that as you were like a group trying to dance with other people? You kind of had to teach each other in a way. Did you ever have to do that?
That's a great question too. I think the younger we were more so the students mirroring the teachers. As we aged, we were given opportunities to almost create our own choreographies and learn from each other. Sometimes I would create something and share it with Kayla, and she would learn it. She could create her own movements and share it with you. You know what I mean? And it would be, and then as even we get older, the seniors in my high school program, we were given the opportunity to choreograph solos, duets, and even group pieces for the underclassmen. So we would think up movements and ideas and songs and then teach them. And I'm currently teaching at Grace Arts, and I have a class, and so I'm choreographing a dance for them for the song Movement by Hosier.
That's cool.
Oh.
Thank you.
Where we actually met.
Exactly.
Oh.
Grace Arts.
Ballet is really fun to me. I took ballet for 6 years.
Wow.
And I currently have to give it up because I'm broke. So once I'm able to financially pay for classes again, I'm going to go back into it and do more tap, ballet, contemporary dance. I like contemporary the most though because it feels more freeing to me versus ballet. Ballet is very, like you said, strict and rigid.
Yes.
But with contemporary, I'm kind of free to do more.
Exactly.
Which is why I like it a little bit better. I still love ballet. I practice ballet almost every day. It's just, it doesn't have as much creative freedom in a way like contemporary does.
Totally. An
So,
expression.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm with you.
from what y'all have been saying, it sounds like it's more of like expressing your own interpretations of the dance that you want to do, rather than, like you were saying, Kayla, the structure of like say ballet and other dances like that. So that's really cool.
That's a good way to see it. Portraying other people's kind of ideas versus your own. Ballet
Exactly.
is more.
Yeah.
It's kind of historic.
Yeah, and then like you said, you can teach other people those ways, and then they can kind of come up with little different things of their own.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, dancing's one form to express how you feel. Is there other forms of expression, I feel as though dancing's something that's deeply rooted into all history.
Yes. So, and you said you learned hula in Hawaii.
I don't really
something.
remember exactly, but I think it was traditional Hawaiian dancing.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned it in 4th grade when I was living in Hawaii, but it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I remember bits and pieces about it, but teacher made it fun to learn how to dance and sing traditional Hawaiian songs. But I had a good time just learning it. I mean, it was just something new that I'd never experienced because I lived in Oregon, and then I just go to Hawaii, and they're just like, "Oh, this is one of the classes you have to take." I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of weird." And then I did it. I was like, "Oh, this is really fun."
I love that you got to experience that. In my study of dance history in college, I learned that in some cultures, specifically Hawaiian and some Aboriginal Australian lands, dance was the way that they communicated before words were a thing. Like with movements, with bodies, with music, that was the way ideas were transported from one person to another. And then also art too, drawings, and then eventually words came into the picture.
That's crazy. I cannot imagine communicating to you guys
with paintings.
No,
Dance.
with my dance movements.
You already communicate pretty well with your dances, John.
Oh yes.
John, you are quite the dancer.
Oh yes. Let's all. What is your everyone else at this table? We know Edyn is a master class dancer. What are your experiences with dancing?
This, I have to be honest, this is kind of like an outside going in for me because I don't really know much about dance and choreography. It's not something I really grew up with. But from what you've been saying, it's very interesting. Like I love what you've been saying so far about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Kayla, you took dance classes for ballet?
I did take dance classes. I took it for a little while, and my favorite is contemporary, like I said, because I feel the most freedom with contemporary. So I'm able to express myself when I can't put it into words. I can put it into like different art forms, whether it be me painting.
You're an amazing painter.
Thank you. Or me dancing in my room weirdly. So
everyone does it.
No one talks about it, but everyone does it.
Which says a lot about dancing.
Yeah, but I feel like you don't have to be good at dancing to do it.
As long as you're having fun.
As long as you're having fun, and like if the music moves through you, your body just does whatever. Which is why I kind of just let it happen in a way. And if it looks weird, it looks weird, but it just feels right. If that makes sense. I
get you.
Yeah.
I think it's more when you're like thinking about it that it doesn't look as good as you want it to. Like if you're just like letting the music flow with you and let your body move with that, I think it looks more natural that way.
Yeah.
That's what I think of it.
And I'll share this. As a dancer who's kind of mostly been in classes and using dance in a more graded and strategic way, I have the hardest time expressing myself at like dance parties and places where it's very
like freestyle kind of dancing.
That's where I can struggle because I'm like, wait, it's not graded. I don't have the moves pre-thought. Like people aren't actually watching me in a performance way, and I could struggle the most to express myself then. So I've had to really grow in shifting my perspective about, okay, now it's not about putting on a show. Now it's about expressing and being free and not afraid. And so I've had my own journey just with like freestyle kind of dance.
That's beautiful. What is your experience with freestyle? Or have you like extended into like more, not modern dance, but more like you said hip hop dances? What's that like?
Well, my first memory of free dance was after our ballet classes. I think the teacher, in efforts to give us room to express ourselves, would turn the lights down, open up a treasure chest of scarves and instruments and say, okay, it's free dance time. Everybody go and do what you want. I almost quit my ballet classes because I was so resistant to the free dance. And I remember having numerous conversations with my mom about, I don't want to do free dance. I feel so uncomfortable and on the spot. And So I actually had to really push through because I wanted to keep my ballet classes so badly. And that was the compromise was, okay, well, you need a free dance too. So that was the beginning of my battles with free dance. And then as I got older, I think I just had to really fight to put myself out there and be uncomfortable in the most ironic way, because you would think it's the most fun to be free. And same. And then so dance parties, it helps going with like people who don't care what others think, and then just going crazy. Hip hop was hard for me too, because as a ballerina, I think I felt like I had to be very, again, rigid and calculated. Hip hop was also a lot more energetic and a lot more, I felt like I wasn't cool enough for hip hop growing up, and that I didn't have the right look also, which goes into so many stereotypes in the dance world that can be talked about and broken down. That's my ringtone. But so yes, now I look forward to dance parties. I think there's always a lot of expectations on dancers to be the life of the dance parties, but for me that's just not the case, and it's ironic.
I've always struggled with just dancing in general. I have 2 left feet for sure, but I always have fun with it. I mean, when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, God, I suck at dancing. I don't really. But I was like, come on. And then now I'm just like, I look weird. I'm having fun. Just going with the music, free flow.
Exactly.
But it's just having fun, getting out on the dance floor. If you look goofy, you look goofy. You're just there having fun.
And you're all the better for it. You are.
Yeah.
So, Edyn,
Yes.
I hear you're in a few music videos.
Really?
Wow.
You want to talk about your experience with filming a music video, like dancing and things?
Sure, I'd love to. So it's funny, the backstory to that. So growing up in a Christian environment, I had a youth pastor, Cedric, shout out to Prince JR. He became a pop star, actually, and just really has been pursuing his love of music and art, and he's an incredible visionary and a very just inspiring and creative soul. And he does a great job of using the people he knows in his life to just bring out their talents and let them be able to express themselves, which I respect him for. So he's given me the opportunity on numerous occasions to feature in his videos. And one of the first ones I ever did was called Drowning, and the idea was relationships and hard things going on in life and how it could just make you feel like you're drowning, and traumas. And so he brought some great actors onto the scene, some great dancers, and I was able to kind of wear white and symbolize somebody drowning emotionally, physically, and do the movements from that. That was my first music video. And then there was another one called Demon in a Bottle, and so I had to sort of harness my inner evil and my dark side, and I had to portray this kind of seductress woman who was trying to lead a man in the wrong direction, and I was wearing this red dress and this red scarf, and I had to kind of just feel kind of evil and dark and move and kind of had like a very fierce mentality. And then the other role that I was able to dance in was a more sentimental piece called Gone, and it was a bit of a tribute to the people that we've lost to COVID-19 and George Floyd, and even Cedric's own church pastor who had passed away that same day. And it was more of a mourning piece where I was able to dance and grieve and express sadness of just the loss in life. And then the second most recent was a piece called Heart, which was just about all the craziness that goes on in the heart of a person. And me with 4 other dancers, we were able to just kind of contemporary-esque, your style. We all wore different colors. We danced on tables. We were so expressive and
Kinda
free,
like
and
Footloose.
like Footloose.
Yeah.
And we got to hold smoke bombs and march and just be very very powerful in our movements. And the last one was, I had a little less of a highlighted role, and I was dressed as I kind of was like a panther type character, and the piece was filmed in a church, and I also got to wear a nun suit at some point. And me and one of Cedric's other dancers, Zach Troy, we sort of duetted and danced around the building together. Yeah, so those were my most, I think, recent music videos. Yeah.
Interesting. Which one was your favorite?
Let me think about this, honestly.
Mm-mm.
I loved Heart. Heart was really exciting because of the smoke bombs and because the place we filmed was like, it felt like a castle. Every floor had extraordinary decorations and architecture. And it was just, it felt like I was in another world. And then it was also kind of like dramatic because at some point we were dancing in the smoke bombs and I couldn't breathe and I was like, should I keep dancing or should I run out? And it just felt like one of those movie moments, like, this is so crazy, what's happening? And so it felt like the most memorable in that sense.
That'd be cool to just see is just all the smoke flying around and just dancing and stuff. Just that'd be a sight to see.
Yes, it was fun.
Whoa. Is there a way to see these?
Yes, I could totally give you Cedric's YouTube plug and then show you the videos that I'm in.
Awesome. We'll try to link those at the bottom. But
Oh,
I'm
yay.
so interested. That sounds so cool.
Hey, no.
Thanks for asking.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end since we're at 20 minutes.
I
Oh.
have one more thing.
Oh.
Okay, so what is one thing that you've learned from this session about dancing?
I gotta say a lot of the contemporary stuff was very interesting to learn about. I liked how you talked about the dances from the different cultures and how you got to learn those as you as you move through each of them, and they were really cool to listen about.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I like to let the music flow. Just move with it and don't hesitate. If you look bad, that's okay. Just keep going.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I thought it was really cool how you described it. Well, not described, but you were talking about how older dancers or more experienced dancers would pass along stuff that they know to other dancers and back and forth. And I thought that was really awesome how, like, back in history classes, we always learn of people passing their dances and traditions down to each other, to younger generations. And I thought that's really cool how, like, little pieces of that still remain today and, like, teaching each other these skills and learning from each other. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yes. Great insight.
Yes. I would have to say the complexity of dancing. I've learned so much about dancing today than I did a few minutes ago. Just wow. I didn't know all this stuff went into dancing. Just so much time, care, and effort goes into it. It's just amazing.
Awesome. Liam, are you looking forward to pursuing some dancing in the future?
Maybe more of my own style of the drunken monkey or something. I don't know.
Drunken monkey.
I don't know. But might learn some dancing in the future.
I think this opened up many doors and ideas.
The world is yours.
The world
For
is
sure.
yours. All right, Dylan.
Ready for the question of the
I'm
day?
ready for the question
For
of
sure.
the day.
All right. The question for this episode is, what do you think the key to a successful performance is? And how can you learn from other people the best way to perfect your own skills? Thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
It's not turning off.
Awkward.
It's okay. We can.